Hi, everyone. My name is Dr. O'Malley, and I want to welcome you to Human Anatomy and Physiology. I am very excited to spend this semester with you and cover a variety of different topics, all centered around the human body. So I want to go ahead and take a little bit of time to introduce myself and kind of give you a feel for what you can expect in the course throughout this semester. So again, my name is Dr. O'Malley. My preferred pronouns are she, her, hers, and I have been teaching at the college level since 2002. Now, I always like to tell my students the story of how I became a teacher because I learned a lot of lessons along the way that you might find either resonate with you or you might find to be helpful. And I also just like to tell the story just so my students can get to know a little bit more about me and the journey I took to become the educator that I am today. So if you would have asked me, a while back or, while I was in college or even in high school, if, I thought I was going to go into education, I would have said no at that time. I never thought that I was going to be a teacher. It was never, a goal of mine, not even really on my radar. When I was in high school, or even before that, I did always know that I wanted to do something in the sciences, specifically the biological sciences, because that was always an interest of mine. I always enjoyed the outdoors. I liked searching for, animals out in the woods. I liked to do plant identification, fishing. So I really enjoyed, the outdoors and animals and things of that nature. So I always knew that I wanted to kind of focus on the sciences. So as I was preparing to go to college, I knew that I wanted to major in biology, but at that time, if you would have asked me what I wanted to be when I grew up, I would have told you that I wanted to be a research scientist. So I wanted to work in a research lab. And one of the reasons that I wanted to go into research is because at the time, this is kind of funny, my teenage self, so my 17-year-old me, was not really a people person. I didn't think I wanted to work with people. I, kind of wanted, to work in an environment where I didn't have to, engage with a lot of other individuals. And my 17-year-old self was also fairly naive in thinking that that was how research science was. I just thought that if I was a research scientist, I'd work in my lab and I'd be by myself and, I'd just kind of get to do my lab work and do my own thing. So what I did is when I was in college, when I was getting my undergraduate degree at McHenry University, I decided to go ahead and work part-time in a research lab to get some experience because that's what I thought I wanted to do for a career. And so I started working for the Human Genome Project at the Genome Sequencing Center at Washington University. And I really loved that job. It was a great job. It was super interesting and fascinating. We were, in the race to sequence the human genome with labs all over the world. So I really did love the job. And it taught me a lot of things, mainly that research is very collaborative. These researchers were not working all alone in their labs with nobody else. There were tons and tons of people working with them, collaborating with them in other lab spaces, collaborating with them at other universities, both in the United States and across the world. So, it really was very eye-opening. And allowed me to understand that, that type of career, involves a lot of work with other people. And although I really enjoyed that lab work, it also allowed me to try it out and then understand that it wasn't exactly 100% the perfect fit. So after I was done then with my bachelor's degree in biology, because that lab job just didn't feel like the perfect fit, I decided that I was going to, instead of enter the workforce and continue working for a lab, I decided that I was going to go on and pursue a master's degree in biology at Southern Illinois University, Edwardsville. So when I was going to Edwardsville, I kind of switched gears a little bit, and I decided that I was going to focus on environmental science and ecology. And, at that time I was going to, save the planet and, all this sort of thing. And I was really going to hone in my focus in that particular area. So I did kind of the same approach that I did when I thought I wanted to be a researcher. I went ahead and I got a job with the Illinois EPA. And for a summer, I worked with them and I learned, the role of those individuals, worked with a lot of different individuals in various areas of the Environmental Protection Agency, did a lot of environmental sampling and things of that nature. And again, just like the lab job, I really enjoyed it. It was great experience. I met a lot of great people. But I realized that it, again, wasn't exactly, the perfect fit for me. While we were doing great work and, we were doing things, to monitor and help maintain the environment in Illinois, there's a lot of aspects of the job that I didn't really think about. It's a government entity. There's a lot of paperwork. There's a lot of red tape. And so it just didn't, again, really feel like the right fit. So at about this same time when I was in graduate school, I, got the offer of working for the college in order to get my tuition paid for. And as most of you know, if someone's going to offer to pay your tuition in exchange for work or, a scholarship or something like that, you really want to jump, at that type of opportunity. So I was very excited about the opportunity to have an assistantship. Most of my friends had research assistantships, so I felt, comfortable working in a lab with a professor and helping them do their research. So I asked my advisor, more about the assistantship, and he told me that all the research assistantships had already been taken. And so I was kind of puzzled because, that's the only one that I really knew about. I didn't know there were other types of assistantships for the college. And so I was kind of puzzled, and I kind of asked him what then they wanted me to do. And he said, well, we want you to teach. And I was really even more puzzled at that point because I had just graduated with my bachelor's. I had never taught before, so I was really kind of, confused and a little uneasy. And, I kind of think he realized this, and he goes, oh, it'll be fine. He's like, you can handle this, you can go ahead and teach, you'll start teaching labs. And I said, okay, well, what does the school need me to teach? And then he said, well, we want you to teach anatomy and physiology. And I thought, oh goodness, I took anatomy and physiology, a few years ago. I didn't even get an A, I got a B, now you want me to teach all these other people, about this particular topic. And again, he assured me that everything would be fine. And so I was super nervous. I was, a little bit kind of negative going into the situation because I really didn't think I wanted to do it. But I just couldn't pass up the opportunity to have my tuition paid for while I was at Edwardsville. And so I figured I can do anything, for 2 years. I'm going to suck it up. I'm going to go ahead and do it. And gosh, I am so glad I did. I mean, from the first moment that I walked into the classroom and started interacting with the students, I finally found that perfect fit. And I realized this is exactly what I want to do with the rest of my life. And that another eye-opening, experience for me, because here I was so sure I was going to be a research scientist, and I was so sure I was going to work, in, the environment or in the ecology, career. And both of those times, I was wrong. It wasn't the right fit. And here it was the opposite. I was so sure that this was not going to be for me. And it turned out to be the perfect fit and what I wanted to do, as my career. So I taught while I was at Edwardsville for all 2 years that I was there. And then after that, I got some part-time teaching work. And I was feeling pretty comfortable in my background, my content background, but I really wanted to go ahead and improve my teaching skills and improve myself as an educator. So I decided to go back to school for a third time, and this time I went to St. Louis University and I pursued a PhD in education. So I kind of took the two things that, I love the most, science and education, and was able to kind of put them together. And I really think that was helpful in, allowing me to grow as an educator and learn a lot more about the education process and how to be a good teacher to kind of complement the content background I already had from my prior two degrees at McKendree and at Edwardsville. So that essentially is the story of how I became a teacher. I've taught at 2-year schools. I've taught at 4-year schools. I did a lot of teaching in the St. Louis metro area, but in 2012, an opportunity arose for me to teach at Lincoln Land. And I was very excited about that because I do enjoy teaching at the community college, at community colleges. I really enjoy, working with students, within that type of atmosphere. And Springfield is also where most of my family is. So I was very excited for my daughter and I to move here. So not only I could continue teaching at a community college, but we could also be closer to family. So I'm really looking forward to getting to know all of you better this week. So you'll be doing some different activities online and also when we see each other in our lab, we'll be doing some introductory type activities. And that way, we'll all get to know each other a little bit better as well. So I look forward to that. So now you'll go ahead and continue on with the remainder of the introduction to course activities and then get into Unit 1. And I look forward to seeing everyone in our first Zoom lab coming up here shortly. So have a great day, and if you have any questions, feel free to let me know. And again, I look forward to seeing you all in our Zoom soon. Bye-bye.